Hi everybody, so it is a day before vacation and I want to do some things in the garden right before I leave to just make sure everything is settled for the 3-4 days that I'm away. First things first, you'll notice that I have the plants that I took out of the hydroponic system there. It rained overnight. It's going to be raining today. So when it rains, I think it's a perfect time to put the plants in the garden. So number one, we're going to plant out these plants here into the garden enclosure. That's where they're going to be housed. And then another thing I'm going to do is at some point today, I'm going to take these plants and process them before I leave. And then in addition to that, one of the things that I need to do is I'm going to completely remove the plants from this hydroponic system here. So I have the basil, the purple basil here, and then I have another brassica here. I'm going to actually take it out of the system and put it in pots and put it in under the grow lights while I'm away. So I still have some plants that are deep down in here. They look like they're finally coming up. So I'll give you a preview of that. So they finally look like they're coming up a little bit. I'm going to leave them in, lower the light. This one looks pretty good already. I see some sprouts coming in. I'm going to actually put some of the A and B fertilizer in this before we leave so that this will be straight. They're on timers, so they work perfectly. But for now, the first things first is to get the plants that I took out a couple weeks ago and I've been hardening off, and I'm going to put them out into the garden enclosure. So let's go. All right, so come on in. As you can see, it looks dramatically different. I've been hardening these off, so I think that they will stand the test of time. And I have another one that I'm eventually going to put in here, so I'm going to do it in blocks. So I'll put 1, 2, 3, and then 4. But I'll start from the back. Just dig a hole. And what I'm hoping is that all the soil doesn't come out, because then I can use that same soil and put it in with one of the other ones that I'll transplant out. So check it out. This is how we can tell the soil is super duper rich. See, take the worm here. He's running away. So you take the worm and put him back where he belongs. It's another baby worm. Put him back in there too. And on this side, we're going to put the tatsoi. So I know the root system was fairly large in this. I can see it's already coming down. You see the roots from when I took it out. So because they're all up in there, I'm actually going to dig the hole a little bit deeper so that it could go right into the ground. I found a pepper down there. Gently place it down and cover it around, building a mound around it, pressing it down. So that's one that we got in. And you remember before I cut up the pepper plant that was here. So you'll see different pepper plant clippings all down in the soil. That was done intentionally because I know that the root system is fairly large here. Digging a very big hole. You want to see the hole I'm digging? So get down in there. And like I said, there are worm castings all down in the soil. I'm going to grab the other tatsoi. They'll go in the back. Put this label here. And I also have on the label that this is one of the hydroponics plants. And I could tell by the bottom, the roots have gone all down in there too. Just place it down and then move the soil back all around it. Pack it down in there. All right. So we got the 2 tatsois in there. I'm gonna save these for the other plant. And right in the front of that one, dig another big hole for the I have some down in here, some of the old roots from the pepper plant. I'm going to leave them in there. They'll eventually break down. All right. So take a look at this soil. So many worm castings, very wet, very rich soil here. So take the label out for the pak choi. As you can see, before I even take it out of the pot, the roots have all started coming out of the bottom of this pot too. So let's get it out of here. Look at that. Wonderful. Place it down in there. Build a mound around it without breaking the leaves. And lovely. What I do with the label and get the label here. So these are 3 plants. They were started out in the hydroponic system here, and these 3 plants I'm hoping become very big and full plants. They're not going to be like the seedlings over there that didn't do very well. So in my opinion, hydroponics works so far. I love it. I can't wait to grow some more and then get them transplanted out in the remainder of the garden here. Okay, so these greens out here have gotten very big, and one of the things about it is when the wind blows and when the squirrels come out here digging, they've been breaking leaves off. So being that I'm leaving, I am going to cook dinner before I leave. So let's just harvest some of the bigger leaves, and I have had one frost, so they should be fairly sweet. So check it out. They're a little bit bigger than my hand, so that's a perfect time to pick some of them. We only need enough for dinner tonight and maybe them having some leftovers. But a lot of people say it's a myth that you harvest greens after a frost and then they're sweeter. I don't think it's a myth, because my grandmother has been doing it for years. Man, it's cold out here. So the leaves are wet because it rained. And now, so this is one that had popped off early. And now the leaves are wet and my hands are wet and it's cold out here. So trying to get off as many as possible. They're going to grow back. This is the cut and come again method. So I'm going to grab different varieties. I have Georgia Southern, as well as some Morris heading over here. Going to leave the center of them in there. Cutting off the biggest leaves first toward the bottom. And just going to leave it to just keep growing. And I'm really just trying to make sure I get enough for dinner tonight and maybe a few leftovers. And it's okay to mix the different variety of collards. So you see that these leaves are a little bit rounder. I think these are the Morris heading. The Georgia collards are more, they spread out even more, so you can tell the difference. But here we go. God, my hands are freezing. Take these in, wash them off, cut them up. And we are good to go. Trim them down. God, my hands are freezing. Woo. All right, that's all the cutting that I think I'm gonna do. Let me grab a few leaves off of this one here. And what I could do is cut some of the turnip tops that are in there, but I think this should be enough once I cut it up. If it's not, I'll come out here and grab some more. So right before I'm leaving, you'll see that I'm harvesting collard greens. I put plants in there. And while I'm out here, let me just, before the winter completely gets to these peppers here, these are the Thai chili peppers. A lot of people notice it because of the challenge. But I'm going to trim off almost all the red ones that my fingers can stand while I'm out here, because the plant is wet, my hands are wet, and I'm frozen. Whew, Jesus. And for these, I may actually pickle them down, drop one, and put them in some vinegar. And eventually, I'll be able to use them with my greens, because a lot of people use them on greens. Let me just pick out the one that fell. Drop the leaf. I got a few more on this side. Okay. All right. The rest are gonna have to stay. My hands can't take it. Cool. So I'm gonna take out 2 of the plants here. This brassica is 1119. I'll write down that I'm taking out, and then the purple basil, I'm going to take it out. I'll probably put it in a smaller container for the basil, just because I want to lower the light. I could tell just by the tank that it probably needs water before I go, and I'm going to feed it before I go just to see if these 3 mustard greens in the middle will sprout up. I probably should have left the base on it because they weren't completely out, but that is a lesson learned. So first, let me grab some. I'll put lids on it after, but for now, let's just try to get out this green. I have some soil here. I'm also gonna bottom water it because the soil isn't really, as you can see, the soil isn't that moist. It's still kind of moist, so you can see it's still kind of moist, but it's moist enough to do what I want to do with these plants. So, just gonna put soil down in the bottom. Probably should roll my sleeve up a little bit of this. Gonna keep it pretty loose. So soil in the bottom. And then I'll show you the roots from this. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to salvage a lot of these roots here because you see it's a lot of them. They're very tangled here. It's gonna hurt my feelings to rip them out. So remove the stickers from around this. And there's another video on the stream that kind of shows you a little bit of what I did. Before I had because I was pulling multiple plants out, I had a container of water here, but now I'm just going to kind of separate the roots and then start pulling it from the top to see how many roots I can salvage. I can already tell that these are going to rip a whole lot. I probably should have pulled it out a lot sooner. But as long as I can get some of the roots, I'm pretty confident that I could get the plant to be able to survive. So loosening up the roots, pulling it at the top. I'm seeing where it is around the basket here. Gosh, they're like all tangled. I'm not going to be able to pull this out without ripping up a lot of these roots. So here we go. And it's mainly on one side that the roots are catching. All right. I'm closing my eyes because it's hurting my feelings to do this. And I sacrificed a lot of this plant's roots. So you see I sacrificed the roots here. Didn't want to do that, but I just needed to get it out. So go in, put more of the soil to keep it up top. Sit it down in there, and then like I said before, I'm going to bottom water to make sure that it stays moist. And pop it down. So I popped this leaf off already. It's okay. Bring it on around. And I'll save the soil that's fallen on the table. I'm just going to rake it back into. All right. So we got another one out. And I'm going to bottom water this and sit it under lights while I'm away. So I'm going to leave it on the inside for about 2 or 3 days because I did rip a lot of those roots. Hurt my feelings all up. Oh. So it fell. I'm going to pour the soil right back in there. This one might go through some plant shock because it done fell over. I broke a couple of the leaves when it fell. The leaves are so tender on this that they pop so easily. There we go. So as you can see, I just popped another leaf. I'm going to do something. Yeah, super tender. A lot of people use these in salads. A lot of people cook them. So kind of tastes a little bit like spinach. And the reason why I'm okay to eat this one inside is because I grew it in hydroponics. It has not been outside. And I'm all good. I didn't die. Okay. So the roots, going to toss those in the garbage. And now I could just get a different container, one that's not as deep, and do the basil the same way. This basil, believe it or not, is going to be a giveaway basil. So I actually grew it for someone. All right, so let me just grab one of the smaller containers over here. A key is to save containers over the years. This one is a little bit smaller for this basil. So put soil down in the bottom. I'm going to make a little hole in the middle for the roots to kind of like lay down in. So it's not as bad for this one. Actually, it is. And smells very good. I'm going to be a little bit more gentle with this one because although I know the brassicas can stand it, this is one of my favorite basils, the purple opal basil. And I'm going to try to get most of its roots out. Need to take the sticker off so that the sponge can come right out. And they go through a little bit of shock, but as I've noticed, I only hardened the other plants off for a couple days, and I'm hoping, see how it's coming out a little bit easier because the roots aren't as big. Still ripping of them a little bit. I got dirt down in my nails. Gotta go wash my hands. But I'm able to salvage. I only got, see the roots there? And I only lost a few roots there. So that one actually makes me feel a little bit better. I'm going to send it straight up. Put it in here. Cover it. Gonna jam it down too much, but here we go. Got the basil removed, and isn't it pretty? It's leaning over to the side a tiny bit, but that's just because it's probably under a little bit of shock. I'm gonna sit this in here, and as I said earlier, the light over on that side is gonna mimic the lights in here. I'm eventually going to get some covers to recover these holes. And now what I could do is lower the light for the remaining plants that are in there, hoping that by the time I come back, they're up. And I could toss the roots from this. So I have water on the porch here.
Wait. Hold on. Because you did something that I didn't think you would do.
What?
Let me turn the camera up. Hopefully they can hear me. If you watch her videos, you watch her lives, you know she says that she does not eat
Plants.
anything unless she washes it. I witnessed her take this off and eat it without washing it.
Yeah.
That's a first.
That's a first.
That's a first. And what plant was this?
It's a brassica. It's called like chimney something. But it's not been outside, so I'm not worried about any worms.
So now you got double standards.
I do have double standards.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out because I saw that and I was like, I may have to like check her temperature or something because she don't eat stuff without washing it.
I don't.
But you saw that she did that, so yeah.
You just needed to point that out.
And this better make the cut.
So, all right. Check this out. I'm using the water that I use in the hydroponic system because I don't want to be too different or give it something that it's not used to. This is purified water that goes into the hydroponic system. Clearly that's too much, but the point is the water will come in from the bottom, soak into the top. And rather than me pouring it on and the soil being displaced all around it, this is a little bit better. I'm also going to refill that with the remainder water here and give it a little bit more nutrients A and B, which I have here. And so in a second, you'll see me put nutrients A and B in both Shelly and Cece, because you know I named my hydroponic system. So let's bring this over here and put it under the grow lights. And this is my little workstation area. A lot of people say, oh man, Chaz, you took over the sun porch. Well, the sun porch is my work area. So I have it here. It has water. I'm going to give it the same type of grow lights here until I could get them outside in the enclosure where the rest are. So kind of bend it down a little bit so it can go directly onto the plants. I like this one because I can bend it how I want it and twist and turn and do all the things. And bam, they'll be out here for a while. Trying not to roughhouse this one too much because it went through a lot of shock. Like, it legit fell and broke a couple of the stems, but it had about 5 or 6 true leaves, so it will be fine. Same with the basil here. So let me try to give it a little bit light focus on there. And we have that. Now let's feed the different systems here after I clean up some of this stuff. So I'm going to keep my baskets, put them over to the side, keep the soil that I have left, and I'll come out here and clean up in a little bit because I do want it to be nice and clean before I leave. And for this, there's water missing. So I'm just going to measure this out just based off of what the container says. This is nutrient B, enough to replace a liter's worth of nutrients that it lost. Nutrient B. And then I'm also going to put nutrient A, about a liter's worth. Put a liter's worth of nutrient A in there. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use the remainder of the water here and try to fill it up to this 3-liter mark without spilling it all over this system here. Okay, gotta go a little bit more. Almost. And I think I have some spare water over here. A little bit more. All right, so gonna fill the caps back up here. All right, so it's going to be a little mismatch until I can get extra caps myself. But because these systems are identical, I know that there's at least one more top here to cover this one. And from what I've seen people cover these with foil. So I'm going to go grab out some foil for this one, because what happens is if water gets in there, it causes algae to be down into the system itself, and we don't want that. So, and I can just kind of show you, let me take off the top here to show you that before I even put any more plants in here, there's a little bit of roots that are kind of stuck to that side of the vent over there, and the water you can see around the filter itself on this side looks like it needs to be cleaned. So before I restart it for a totally new planting, I'll have to come in and wash this and then take the water pump off and clean the filter on the inside of it as well. It's supposed to pop in. Here we go. So we have this one. I'll go in, get some foil for this. And then for this one, because I see that it's sprouting, it's now time for me to feed it because it's the same system. They use the same nutrients. There's 3 liters, so I'm going to put 15 mLs of A and B in here. Go in and add it before I leave. And then I'm going to get A. Just measure it out. All right. So some people feed their systems before they start. You have to do what's best for you. And close this back. And voila, the pumps will run on their own. The lights will come on and off on their own. And I've done some of the tasks that I needed to do before leaving for vacation. The only thing really left for me to do is clean those greens that I harvested for dinner tonight. Clean off this table and make sure that all my workstations are fairly clean and put up everything that I needed to put up. So if you like this video of what I did right before leaving for vacation, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so that you can see all the updates. And I'm sure I'll do a video of what everything looks like as soon as I come back from vacation. So happy gardening and peace.